All right, what's up, everyone? Welcome back. Happy Monday. Jen, how's it going?
Great. How are
Good
you?
morning. I'm amazing. Phenomenal, even. The only one with energy today.
Yeah, I don't have much, but I'm going to bring it.
All right. All right. All right. So today we're talking about, I guess, this thing that we see in every industry, which is instead of looking forward, you you see the majority of the people looking sideways or even backwards, trying to figure out what everyone else is doing instead of building their own thing.
Mhm.
Sometimes I criticize it by saying monkey see, monkey do. We talk about this a lot. I think one of our first episodes, we talked about this. So
It's a bad habit for sure.
5 years.
And
And we'll get into why it's important and we'll get into what to do about it. And I don't know, all the stuff we always get into. But first, Jen, we're going to start with our
Opening takes.
Are you going first or do you want me to?
I can go
All
first.
right.
I'm prepared.
All right. I'm
It's
listening.
guess my New Year's resolution to be prepared with my opening take. I
We're
don't know.
all ears.
Okay. My opening take is have the conversation. So I guess it goes off what we're talking about today. I see so many times on these Facebook pages or different social media platforms of people saying, I have this situation with my stylist. How would you handle it? What should I do? What you need to do is have a conversation. There's no magic piece of advice than just that. And the conversation would come from how you lead your team. So, you know, there's so many different scenarios that happen day to day in our salon or weekly or monthly or whatever. And if I didn't have these conversations when things were happening, they would pile up. And when I went to have a big conversation, it would just be a bunch of chaos because the stylist wouldn't know where I'm coming from because I didn't address everything else prior. I just waited till it got to be so big that I'm so irritated that probably how I'm coming across is not at all how to be. It's very easy, and this is my approach, is I come from a place of help. Todd, you talk about this all the time. So sometimes it's even, hey, some of your actions lately are just not making sense to me. What's going on? How can I help? And other times I'm like, hey, this happened the other day. Just explain to me what your thought process was. And I can tell you, I would say even 9 times out of 10 or 10 times out of 10, there's always a fantastic conversation. The way I think it's going to go, it doesn't go. It's always better than I can predict. And there's always a better solution. And there's generally then a better understanding of the relationship between me and the stylist. So it's as easy as when a scenario comes up, have a conversation, figure out how to approach it from a place of help, and then take that information and always keep doing that. It's not comfortable to have some of these hard conversations, but it's necessary for you to grow the culture in your business, for you to lead your team. You could take that even into just regular life with different relationships you have. But having a conversation, working through it will only lead to good things. Don't go to Facebook.
Something that you always say, Jen, when there's an issue that I think's this that makes our staff realize things is and this is just an example of how you might start this conversation, but you'll pull someone aside and you'll say, or you'll do it in front of other people because it's leading and it's helping them
Yeah.
grow. It's not a negative thing. But if somebody is like having a weird conversation or saying things that are, I don't want to say inappropriate, but
Maybe unprofessional.
unprofessional, you'll pull them aside or in front of the group, say that again, but I want you to think about how you sound to the client.
Yeah.
And there's always these light bulbs that go off because I know for myself, I've been, well, as I get older, I practice this, but I've been known to in the past, anybody that knows me, just say whatever comes to my mind, and that's me. And if you're going to hang out with Todd, that's what you're going to deal with. And I think there's this part of you that or part of people where that's good. You need to have your opinions and stuff, but sometimes in the context, it's taken in a weird way. And that's where you correct people. And I think it's awesome. So
Thanks.
I always actually marvel at that because I think it's pretty impressive how you can bring it full circle by saying, do you realize how that sounds?
Mm-hmm.
And people are like, I guess I didn't.
And it's always it ends positive
Oh, yeah.
because it's a working conversation. And I guess I had seen something recently and I'm like, people just need help on how to have these conversations. And the world's not going to end. No one's, even if someone's feelings are hurt for a hot minute, as long as you're coming from a place of help, they're going to see that you're helping them. You're helping them grow, the team grow, you're leading them. That will win out more often than not.
Agreed. All right. So my opening take for people that know me, You know that I dig AI. I've been an AI fan since way back in the day. And I love large language models. I love all the chats. I love this stuff, right? I'm a geek. I get it. So, self proclaimed, I don't think there's anything wrong with being a geek, but I love me some technology. And I'm going to pick on ChatGPT just because I'm not even picking on ChatGPT. I'm just going to use that as a blanket because there are so many AI large language models out there that people can use, but it seems to be the one that rolls off everyone's tongue. So we'll just stick with that. And I think a big problem with ChatGPT is that the people who have no clue about a topic are using it and they're thinking they're all set. Except you don't know what you don't know. So, for example, if you use ChatGPT to drop a lease agreement, but you have no clue what's legal or what goes into a lease agreement, you still don't know if that's correct. And I see a lot of people out there that will say, just use ChatGPT. That's what I did for my business. And while I don't think ChatGPT is bad because I just said I love this stuff, I do think not having a base knowledge puts you and your business in harm's way because you're using it to not grow yourself or expand. You're using it to be lazy. And there's a big difference there. And you're not going to magically know what mistakes to look for or what holes you've even created. So you're still going to need a lawyer or somebody that knows what they're doing because you don't. So another example I wrote down here is that I use AI for writing and drafting notes, but I know how to write and draft notes. So I'm training the model on my preferences. I'm giving it my words and I'm able to identify the mistakes that it's making as I'm using it. And trust me, it makes mistakes. It's trainable at this level where it's at right now. Today is like 5.2. It's trainable to a point. It's still going to deviate at some point, and you have to understand that so that you can tell it to shift back. That's all.
I love how you used it when we were having sound issues. I don't know how many episodes back. Do you remember?
Yeah, I do. I just used it. So in that case, I used it at its very simplest form. I used it just as a search tool. And so I guess we can touch on it a little bit since we're already here. But yeah, we were having some issues with the mics. There was this clicking and I couldn't figure it out. I was looking at wiring. I was looking at the connections. I was making sure everything was clean. I was making sure everything was dust free.
And it clicked like halfway through. It never was at the beginning because we would have fixed it if it was in the beginning. It was just like we didn't change anything, but all of a sudden we're both hearing clicks.
And anyway, I searched it up I used ChatGPT and I was like, here's what's going on. Here's everything. And it walked me through and it turns out that it was Jen's jewelry. So Jen wears a bunch of jewelry, which is cool, but it can interfere with the mic. So I said, hey, let's try recording without all your necklaces on because metal can influence these microphones. And we haven't had any clicking since.
So before we record, I take off all my necklaces and we're good to go.
Another thing that, since we're on this topic, before we dive into the episode, the other thing that I use ChatGPT for, and I think it's great, is to create workflows. So what I'll do with it is I'll describe everything that I want it to do. And this could be pretty complex. It takes a while to figure it out and to work all the bugs out of it. And I'll use it for our shows, for example, our podcasts. And what I'll do is I'll take the podcast episode and I transcribe it. So it gives me the Word doc, basically. So it'll say Todd and then what I say, and it'll say Jen and what she says. And it goes through our whole episode with timestamps. And I'll feed that into ChatGPT and I'll tell it to run the full workflow of whatever I'm doing. Say I'm making a blog post and it knows now that I want, key takeaways, that I want FAQs, that I want it structured in a certain way. And then all I have to do is take that because it's already in my words. So a lot of people will say, if you're using AI to write, it's cheating. It's not your words. This is my words. I'm giving it my words to start. And then I'm telling it what to do with those words. Again, it takes a little bit of practice and it took me, I don't know how long, but it took me a while to work all the bugs out and it's still a work in progress, but it can save you hours and hours because why listen to the episode again and then rewrite everything when it's already written down? It's already transcribed. We already have the software doing the heavy lifting. And then I can just reorganize it, restructure it, or insert or remove whatever might fit or not fit for whatever you're doing, blog post or social media or whatever. So that was a long opening take, but hopefully it helps people out there. So let's jump into this sort of copycat thing that we see in business, and I see it a lot in the salon industry. And part of it is that there's a lot of halfway decent content out there. There's some amazing content out there, and then there's a whole bulk of trash content out there. Let's just be real. And so the halfway decent content gets put on this platform because it works for maybe 60 to 75% of people. And I'm just making numbers up, but there's no way that one system, what I'm saying, there's no way for one system to work for 100% of businesses.
Absolutely.
That doesn't exist. So when I see stuff like when somebody posts in a group and they say, I'm having a problem with this, or a system should I use for that? And then everyone chimes in, you have to follow this person. They're the best and I'll never not be with them. And they fixed my whole salon. But you don't know the intricacies of someone else's business. So it doesn't mean that it won't work. It just means that we should figure out things like my Chat GPT opening take. If you don't know what you don't know, you still could be in trouble. If you're just blindly following somebody's templates that they give you and somebody's like videos that you get access to, you're not learning anything.
You should be using them to learn from them, to build your own. That should be your inspiration, not your follow.
Exactly. And I think that's something that we're really good at, not to promote ourselves like shameless promotion, but it's my podcast, so I'll do what I want. But when we work with people, we make them figure it out on their own.
And some can't handle that. We've had people that can't work with us because they just want it given to them, but that's not going to lead their business long term. It probably isn't going to get them very far short term, but we want to work with mindful people that want to truly learn about their business and grow it in their own way that's best for the vision that they've created.
Yeah. And look, you can hire me as a COO to come in and put all your operations in place for you, but it's not going to be cheap because it's a full-time position for somebody. And it's going to take, I don't know what your business looks like, but at least 6 months to 18 months to 24 months. Who knows how long it's going to take? You can't just construct a playbook and then toss it into a random salon and be like, oh, this will work. Because
you haven't even bought into it. So why would you expect anyone else on your team to do the same?
Yeah. And it's not coming from anything. If I, for example, just wrote a mission statement and posted it online and I was like, guys, this mission statement has been amazing for me. And people started just using that mission statement, it might work for a little bit. And then people would be like, your staff might be like, why are we doing this? Or your clients would be confused, but they're not sure why they're confused.
And you can't explain it because you don't know why.
Exactly. And then things just within your business start to feel off. And it's because it's off. It's off from the jump. You started with someone else's vision, not your own. Mm-hmm. So I think this is a huge topic. And this is why we're constantly seeing people that are, what software to use, what commission rates do you do, what do you charge for, how many times do you see this, Jen? What do you charge for a root retouch? I'm in Iowa. What?
It blows my mind every time because people actually will answer. And I'm like, this is scary because if you just do what these people are telling you to do, they don't know what it costs you to open. They don't know what it costs you to run. They don't know your overhead. They don't know your loans. They don't have any clue. And if you don't have any clue, then there's no way you can price the root retouch to be profitable. You could be pricing it so low that you're doing root retouches all day, every week, and you're still in the negative. And then you won't understand why, because you just took it from the person, Susie, over in the next state over that was like, this works for us and so great. You're like, oh, that's going to be great for me. You and Susie aren't running the same business with the same numbers.
True.
Nothing of it is the same.
True story. It's for a lot of people, I think part of it, or a big part of it, is that it just feels safer than deciding for yourself because then you can deflect too.
Yeah.
You can say, well,
I think most people don't know how to price, and that's it also. And then they're embarrassed to ask, well, I've been running this business for so long, but I'm embarrassed because I don't know how to price because I don't know what my numbers are. So I'm just going to guess and wing it. Fake it till you make it.
Yeah, exactly what you're saying. So copying is usually, it's just a shortcut for thinking. It's a way of putting any effort into your business. And sorry to sound harsh there, but I think a lot of people probably need to hear that. And if that's you, it's okay. Just wake up to the fact that you have stuff to learn. A lot of people, and this is super common across any industry that you look at, read about, study for any amount of time. When you are good at the technical part of the job. So in this industry, it's hair cutting or hair coloring or hair styling or whatever you want to do. You automatically think I'll be good at the next level, which might be salon ownership. It happens in the gym industry. We talk about it all the time because we used to have a gym. Look around, though, at other industries. Do you think for a second that everybody that waits tables could run a restaurant?
No.
Give me a break. You would never think that. Then why does everyone in the salon industry think they can run a business? Now, I'm not saying you can't. I'm just saying it's a different skill set and you have to learn
Correct.
how to do it. It's just if a waiter decided to open a restaurant because they thought, I can do this better. Then you know what they're going to do? They're going to say, oh, I'm going to give so much to my wait staff and I'm going to give so much to everyone. And the clients get all these deals. And then they're going to go, hey, guys, I run a restaurant. What software should I use? I'm not making money. Do you know what I mean? It's the same thing
Yeah.
over and over.
I hope that resonates because it's exactly what we see now. I get it. When you are a stylist, you want your owner to take care of you, but your owner can only take care of you so much and still keep the business running, operating, and the doors open. So most often, if you're in a good salon, you're being taken care of to the best that business can. Now, if you're in a crappy salon, whatever. But to exactly what you're saying, I individually, I've met with so many people that are going out on their own to open their next salon and they're trying to give away everything. Like you said, I want to pay them this, I want to pay them that. And I'm like, I don't know why you think that's going to motivate them long-term, maybe for a month. And then what are you going to do when you're not able to pay that anymore? How else are you going to motivate them? Like I get you want to take care of them because you think you should have been taken care of better. But at what you're saying with your numbers, you're going to close within a year. It's not going to happen. Or you're going to have to restructure your whole business. So everyone's going to quit. So let's start from a place of how a real business looks like. And now you can start to grasp why you were paid what you were paid at your prior salon. And probably you made more money.
So let's talk about why people copy and why it feels so appealing. We already ran through some stuff, but running a business is hard. Well,
very.
There are heavy days when you run a business. I think part of it is that people feel like their decisions would be permanent. And we talked about that recently. Just make a choice. Most of the decisions that you're making day to day are not permanent decisions.
Mm-mm.
So you should be able to get over that. I think seeing somebody else, quote unquote, succeed creates this illusion that if I do what they did, I will certainly succeed. And maybe, but also maybe not. So if you don't learn this stuff, you won't be able to, if you don't define what success looks like to you,
correct.
How will you know it? How will you know if you reach it?
And when you see someone you think is successful, how do you even know they're super successful? When we first opened, I remember someone said to me, like, you're so successful, you're so lucky, you're so this. And we were not successful. And I'm like, I don't know where you're coming from, but however you see me, it's not real right now at all. I'm just trying to survive.
Yeah, businesses go through ups and downs. You have peaks and valleys, just like any other part of your life. There's good with bad. And that's another thing that people probably need to realize, that without the bad things, you wouldn't have those opportunities to have those great moments.
Yes.
And I'm thankful that I don't want to say bad things that happen, but I'm thankful when we encounter a challenge, because it gives us an opportunity to problem solve. It gives us an opportunity to exercise our brains. Gives us an opportunity to be on our toes. Yeah, to reflect. And then to identify a hole in our business or systems or whatever, so that we can make sure that doesn't happen again.
And out of it always comes growth. And during it, it's never comfortable. Don't think I'm not usually thankful at that moment at all. I'm like, Todd, are you kidding me? How are we doing this? And I'm like, Jen, dig deep. There's no thankfulness happening at the time. But at the end of it, and when we're growing and the business is better and we're doing better things, your reflection is, wow, like I had to go through that to get here. And I'm happy to be here. And I understand what it took to get here.
I couldn't agree more with that. So when something bad happens in our business, or we're faced with a problem or a challenge, it would be so much easier to go on Facebook and ask everyone, like, hey, how do I fix this? Again, not saying that's necessarily wrong, but what Jen and I do in our business now, and we were not always this way, is we try to figure everything out on our own that we can. And by doing that, we truly learn. Because if I just implemented what someone else said to do, that problem's going to happen again because I don't know how to solve it. I don't even know if I've identified the problem correctly.
Or what we see so often is you just get the cosign. Oh my God, yeah, it sucks for me too, girl. Don't worry, it gets better. And now all of a sudden you're not even problem solving anymore. You just feel better because 10 other people just like co-signed with, yeah, it's sucky right now. So you're like, oh, this is just normal. It's supposed to suck right now. So you're not even getting out of the suck.
And you still have the same problem.
Exactly.
You just magically feel better because
Yeah.
other people have that same problem because
You're
everybody
not
loves
working on
company.
it.
Yeah.
So often I see that.
So why does copying fail?
Because it's not your own.
Yeah, there's so many different reasons. Different owners, different stylists, different whatever you want to look at have different personalities. They have different values. They have different leadership styles. They have different client bases. They have different, Jen, you talked about this, but their financial realities are totally different.
Yeah.
Somebody that operates a salon that maybe they own the building, their families own the building forever. There's barely a lease on it. And they do it like for more fun. Like they have maybe their husband or their spouse has an income that takes care of their family. That's completely different than somebody that took out a bunch of loans struggling to get side up. So because of that, copying can be really detrimental to your business.
And becomes delusional because you're not, like, again, you're not in the same playing field, but you don't know everyone else's story. It's not the same as yours.
I think delusional is a decent word for that because it sounds harsh, but I don't think it is. I think you're delusional because you're under the delusion that this is just going to work for me.
Because it seems to work for someone else, or they said it worked for them. And even that, define what works for people, because for some people it would mean hitting X, Y, and Z goals. For someone else, it is just that, oh, my clients didn't complain. That was my new price. So that works for me. That's different for everybody.
I said earlier that, and this probably is going to hurt people's feelings, but copying, I think, is often a way to avoid thinking. And why is that? Thinking is hard. It's a lot more difficult to figure this out and to learn business and to take classes and to read books and to consume the right content that's going to help you figure out the foundations of operating a business, not just how to put band-aids on things. And that stuff's going to require you to be honest with yourself. It's going to require you to take responsibility. How many times have we said every single thing that happens in your business is your fault?
Right.
How many people are out there blaming the economy? It's the economy's fault. Economies go up and down. What do you do about it? Why did you not fix that? Taking responsibility. It also takes self-awareness. And I think that's something that a lot of people don't have. I know there's so many people out there that will tell you how smart they are. The smartest people will never tell you how smart they are. I've never met people that are super intelligent that go around telling you how smart they are.
Could agree. I think too, it also would mean if you're copying, you'd have to admit that the things you don't know. And I think that's very difficult for people to admit they don't know things. They think they're supposed to know everything. We'll say you're never going to know everything. But for a lot of people that especially open a business and then realize even a year in that they have no clue, to admit that would mean failure. When really, to admit that, even if it's some bit of failure, you're already in the same spot. You're just being honest with yourself. You have a self-awareness, and now you can move forward with it and problem solve and come up with solutions. But I think a lot of people just don't want to admit what they don't know. I'm totally fine with it. But we also talk about surrounding yourself with a circle of people that do know more than you so that you have a stronger foundation. But you have to admit what you don't know and where you need help.
I'm always asking people for help. Figuring stuff.
The right people that can actually help.
That actually tell me how to figure the process out, not just give me an answer. Now, there are times where I was doing some work on the website and I emailed somebody and I was like, just tell me how to do this. And it saved me so much. I need to learn how to code on the website. I just need to know what buttons to click because that's not an instrumental part of my business. And if I was going to build a new website, I would hire someone to build a new website because I don't know how to build websites. And it doesn't mean I can't work on it. Two different things. But copying skips all of that stuff. And I think, I hate to say it this way, but most people just copy because it's the lazy way out. It feels uncomfortable to figure things out on your own. And copying is a lot easier than owning your own choices.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And just blame someone else.
So what does a smart owner that actually wants to learn how to build a business do? Well, they don't copy.
I was like, they do what we do.
And again, I hate these sort of episodes that we get into where we're like talking about intelligence and stuff. I'm not putting anyone down and I'm not putting myself up. I'm just talking about the reality of recognizing your limitations. And most people can't. Most
Right.
people think they are so above average that it makes no sense. You can look up Dunning-Kruger effect. And I think there's a couple things this was applied to. I've seen it applied to driving. I think the original test was applied to humor and telling jokes. So with that example, Dunning-Kruger were two guys that were scientists or whatever, and they were researching this weird effect. But the majority of people thought they were way funnier than everyone else thought they were. Then someone else applied that principle to driving. And something like 86% of people thought that they were in the top 5% of drivers on the road. Now, if you understand math at all, and if you don't, that's okay. I'm going to just give you the answer. That's mathematically impossible. Most people can't be the best, work that way. But
I'm not a good driver. And I'm really bad at parking. Just so you all know.
And you're really bad at jokes.
I am. I'm not very funny.
Jen,
and I'm okay with that.
Jen is the Dad Joke of the Year award.
Yeah. If you need some good dad jokes, I'm happy to send those out to you because I laugh at my own.
You're hilarious, but in an awful way. Anyways, what's important to take from that is that you're going to have the ability to understand your own limitations. I know that there's more out there that I don't know. I do know,
Same.
If that makes sense. And knowing where to get those answers puts me ahead of everyone that thinks they already have the answer, right, or everyone that just blindly follows the people like the Pied Piper, monkey see, monkey do, whatever you want to call it. So
Well, we're open to the new information. We're open. Show me. Tell me what you're doing. Tell me what's working for you. Let's see if we can take anything from that. I don't want to take all of it, and I maybe don't want any of it, but it will give us inspiration of things that maybe we could implement, and that's the fun part.
And you have to be open to that, I think, because if you're not, you end up, how many times do we see these salons that are 2, 3, 4 decades in and now they're like stale and stagnant and they're wondering, but we've been doing it this way forever. That's why.
That's the problem.
That's your problem.
Yeah.
Because you thought you had it all figured out. It worked for the first 8 to 10 years.
But you didn't evolve.
Right. Eventually, though, you run out of knowledge because it's changing, whether you like it or not. No matter what you like.
Yeah.
So I would tell you, if you wanted to actually learn things, that you've got that step one is to understand that you don't understand it. Mm-hmm. If you can't get past that, if you're someone that's, I know what I'm doing, I don't need this, you're not ready to make a change. So hopefully luck holds you out until you are, because the last thing we want to see is people failing. I know there are people out there that want to see people failing.
I want everybody to succeed.
Yeah. And there's more than enough room for everybody.
Agree.
The other things that you're going to have to do is you're going to have to observe. You're going to have to, you can't just take things at face value. You have to truly observe things. If you see somebody that you believe is successful, ask them for some help. But take it with a grain of salt. Or apply some logic to it before you just implement it blindly. Or have a strategy that maybe I'm going to implement this for 60 days. I'm going to measure these 3 things, and then I'm going to reevaluate. That's like a smart way, because at that point you're extracting the principles. And you're not just, I talked about it too in this way, Jen, before, but I'll say it again. It's like when people are learning to cook and they're learning cooking techniques versus people that are just looking for a recipe. A recipe will tell you how to make a great beef stew, but that's all you'll be able to make.
Right.
When you learn how to braise, which is the technique, now you'll learn how to take tough cuts of meat, whatever they are, and present them in a delicious way because you've learned the principles. And I think that people need to, the other thing I was going to say is they need to adapt intentionally. So there needs to be some intention behind what you're doing. You can't just plop a system in place and be like, I don't know, chick online said this worked, so I'm doing it. That's where we see a lot of like discounting.
Yeah.
How do you get more clients? Offer discounts. All right. Why do you need more clients? probably because you need more money. So why would charging less be an
A
option?
plan.
That's not
Yeah.
really, you're not really solving the problem. You're just going to be busier, but still need more money. And
And you're going to be asking the same question the next month.
I talked to someone recently who sent me their copy of their ads, and they were like, "Can you help me with this?" And I said, "Sure." And I looked at it and I was like, "If you haven't already, what's going on with the discounts? You should probably remove that." And then she goes, "You know what? We already removed that because if discounts worked, why when I posted
We wouldn't be running the same ad."
Right, every person out there is offering discounts for either to get new renters or to get new clients or whatever.
Mhm.
And oftentimes people aren't looking for the discount. You're not learning the business enough to identify the actual problem. What's the actual problem that you're trying to solve? You're trying to attract like-minded people. What are they looking for? They're looking for a certain vibe. They're looking for a certain culture. They want to probably be led or guided in some way. What are the things they're looking for? That's the problem. Those are the problems that you should be solving. Not, how do I get them $20 off?
Right.
Most people they're not worried about that part. I think there's some costs to copying that you might not be aware of. And we touched on some of these, but when you copy and you have a team, for example, they're going to become confused. The stuff's not really coming from you.
Yeah, it's not authentic.
And so they might not be able to identify it. You might take something that's white label and put your name on it. And now your team this feels off, but they don't really know why.
Right.
And that's something that creeps in. That's a form of complacency. And that's something that creeps in slowly. We call it the silent killer of businesses. When you just choose to do the same thing or the easy thing time after time after. Now, look, I'm not saying you don't need breaks sometime and somebody's already figured something out, so you implement it. But you still need to, at some point, go back and figure out, what is the point of this? What do I need to have in place? Or what systems or whatever? And then that's going to lead to you having an inconsistent culture. Where
They're going to ask questions and you're not going to be able to answer them. And you're probably just going to be annoyed. But the annoyance started at the first step when you put a policy in place that you didn't write yourself and you didn't really pay attention to it.
For sure. And one of the things we pride ourselves on at Hello is that we don't do anything we don't have a why for, and we don't do anything that we can't explain that why openly to our team.
Correct.
So,
and they appreciate it.
Yes. For example, we make a change, our staff, somebody might go, "Why are we doing this?" And we're able to sit them down, or in passing, because we've usually have it figured out to the detail, say, "Hey, here's why we're doing this. Here's our thought process. Here's how it's going to help you. Here's how it's going to help the client." They go, and they go,
"That makes sense.
"Okay, that makes sense."
That makes sense.
If you're copying other people, you're probably going to end up with misaligned pricing, which is something that we talked about earlier. And then your identity or your culture is going to feel shallow. There's not going to be really depth to it because, again, it's not really coming from you. You're just copying what someone else did. Another reason that I hate copying too is if you just copy and paste a business, by definition, you can only ever be a second place version of that. You will never be the best you can be. You can only be a second best version of someone else. Even if 100 people copy this one person, they will never be that one person because that one person figured it out.
Right.
And everyone else just copied. So even if you're the best out of the remaining 99, or out of the 100, you're the best because I said 100 people copied. Sorry, I can't let my math slip like that. Somebody would call me out. You can only ever be the next best. And that is something that I'm not willing to live with. And it's tough to build confidence running someone else's business.
Yeah, for sure.
It's never gonna push you to grow.
Yeah.
Because you always have something to fall back on. So why does figuring it out on your own feel so uncomfortable?
Because it's your own. You have to own it.
Yeah, there's more responsibility. There's fewer excuses.
Mm-hmm.
You
And
can't.
when you introduce it, the people you're introducing to, they have to process it. So they're going to poke holes at it. And the minute that happens, you're going to probably try to step back. Was this not the right play? Was it not? So you have to not only introduce it as your own, but you have to be confident and believe in it and truly be like, this is the way. So that when people process it to you, you're like, no, listen, look at it this way. Like, you'll be so confident behind it. And when you have confidence and you show that, they're like, oh, okay, this is awesome. But if you don't and it's not yours, when they poke holes at it, you're like, I don't know. And if you're saying, I don't know, they're looking at you like, what are we supposed to know? And then it's just all collapsing, whether right then and there or slowly over time.
Yeah, for sure. And the industry sort of rewards this copycat stuff too, because there's fewer comparisons. So exactly what you just said, Jen, when everyone's doing what quote unquote is just industry norm, then it doesn't really open you up for criticism. When you go out and be different, everyone's got a fucking problem.
Yeah.
Because people are so close-minded, and we're going to talk about this in our next episode, but people are so close-minded that they think if you succeed, it somehow puts them at risk.
Right.
They think there's a pie of success and they need to have the biggest slice, where smart business owners think, how can we make the pie bigger?
Yeah.
There's
room for all of us.
Those are two different thought processes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at growing our little economy, not carving out my little piece of it. And those are sometimes scary things because we're responsible for our decisions. And if we make the wrong one, that could set us back. We've made wrong decisions. Yeah. We calculated by totally guessing that we made a mistake in the past that cost us a year and a half. It set us back a year and a half. Again, I'm being funny there. We didn't calculate anything. We were just like, wow, that took us about a year and a half to dig out of that bullshit. Yep. Why?
But we did it.
Why? Because we made the mistake and we owned it.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about, we already talked about how this shows up in salons. When you copy without understanding stuff, that's all your pricing structures, your commission models, your benefits, your branding, your social media. That's all. What should this look like? And you just guess. So you end up looking at the same, you end up looking like the same business over and over again, but it's the same tactic with a completely different outcome because there's no control to it. So what should people that are wanting to build a business ask? What's like a healthier way rather than what commission rate should I have or what should I charge? I'm in Texas. What should I charge for this service? I don't know why people always give
I don't either.
The geography like that has an impact on it. I would start with asking yourself, what kind of business do I want to run?
Love it.
That's the first thing we did with Hello. Again, if you need help, reach out. I'll help you. The first thing we decided was we wanted to build a business we wanted to work at. That was the first thought process.
That's simple.
Jen said it, and that was it. Okay. Everything moving forward has to be based around things we want to do. I don't want to do things I don't want to do. So it's our business. So why would I run it that way? And then follow up with yourself. What kind of clients do you want? Not how do I get clients? What kind of clients am I looking for? Because how to get them, that's a completely different ballgame. Yeah. If I open a salon on a college campus and college kids are what I'm going after, that's completely different than if I open it in a financial district of a major city. I'm going after professionals. Those are two different things. How to get clients doesn't work for both of those. What kind of team do you want? What kind of lifestyle do you want? And what kind of stress level are you willing to deal with? Because I know a lot of people think bigger, better because they see that online. If I have another location, or if I expand, or if I take over another unit, or if I just add staff, or if I squeeze in some more chairs, if you can't handle what you're at, adding more won't fix it because
you'll just collapse.
The base of what's happening.
Yeah.
All right, let's wrap up.
Okay.
All right. If you feel like you're somebody that has been copying, it doesn't mean that you're behind. It just means that you've got to get started. And Jen and I always talk about pick one thing. You might have 20 fires that you need to put out the fires and then pick one system to build. Don't try to rebuild an entire business in a day.
Oh, yeah.
I say nudging. I don't know why. I think it's a funny word, but you want to make little nudges here and there. You're not going to make a massive overhaul to your business. And I've seen this firsthand. I've seen people do it in business collapses, because you're not going to make a massive overhaul and have your team go, oh my God, I'm so excited for you to change every freaking thing that we've been doing for 8 years. Don't do that to them. That's not fair to them. And it's wild. But we've seen people do that. Every single person quits and they're like, I don't know what happened. Yeah. You changed their entire life.
Yeah.
Work is important for people. You're not behind, but definitely don't do that major overhaul.
Yeah, don't go nuts in the other direction.
Yeah, write it down maybe. Have a little bit of structure and game plan. Don't implement everything at once. You're not missing any secrets. There's really no secret squirrel sauce out there. There's really no one thing that if you were doing this one thing, it just doesn't exist. In the gym industry, Jen, when we had the gym, there was always people like, what's the one thing I can do to get stronger? I'm like, consistency.
Yeah, no one wants to hear that. That's putting the work in.
Yeah, you just have to show up every day, and it's going to suck every day because you're going to be sore, and it's going to suck because you're going to be extra hungry, and you're going to think I can't eat because that's what society tells us. And there's all these things, but it's just putting in the work. There's no, and you're definitely not supposed to be running somebody else's salon. So don't worry about that. Don't be like, I have to do it the same way everyone's doing. Part of for Hello Hair is to prove that our model works.
Yes.
And that's okay. You don't have
we look at what's going to set us apart, not what's going to make us the same.
Yeah. So you don't have to like what we're doing. You can like what you're doing. Steal parts of it. Don't steal parts of it. Don't take my advice. I'm not a business guru. I'm not anything. I'm just somebody that's going through life and enjoys sharing information. And Jen feels the same way. And we just love helping. That's where like this podcast and our blogs and that's newsletters and all that stuff. That's where all that content comes from. It's just wanting to help, and it helps us feel creative. So it's actually very selfish of us. So maybe more people should be selfish. Maybe more people should do the things they want to do instead of doing what everyone else wants them to do. And they'd
be a lot happier.
I think I just landed the plane there. So I guess in closing, if I had to wrap it up, I would say borrow the principles, but then build your own systems.
Make them your own.
You have anything else, Jen? Sorry, I ran over.
That was great.
That's my fault. All right, we'll see everyone next week. And we're not going to see you because this is audio. I don't know why I said that. Someone should call me out. All right, bye, everyone.
Bye.